Indexing and abstracting. Isa ito sa mga major subjects na inaaral ng mga library information science students or ng mga gustong maging librarian. Here in the Philippines, if you want to be a licensed professional librarian, kailangan mong mag-aral ng library information science, bachelor's or master's degree, in order to take the librarian's licensure exam. And if you pass this exam, you are now considered a licensed and professional librarian. Ayon sa RA 9246 or the Philippine Librarianship Act. Ito ang law that governs the practice of the librarianship profession here in the Philippines. However, maraming nagsasabi na mahirap daw ang subject na ito. Isa po ito sa 6 subjects that are included in the exam itself. And I have been teaching this subject for around 3 years now, and this is my 3rd semester teaching it. And I myself, I am challenged since there's a lot of technical terms, and I also have to go back to the subject and study it myself in order to teach it. I try to study the topic and explain it in the most basic and simple terms with examples in order for students to understand. And for this video, I would like to do that, to go back to the basics of what an index and an abstract is, because it is one of the basic subjects of library information science, and understanding this subject actually helps us effectively search for information and help our work as librarians. Let's begin with indexing. An index is a tool to help us locate information. So the most basic example is the book index. The parts of the book, usually there is a table of contents, the text, and the index. So if you have a book near you, try to check if it has an index. Try to observe how it organizes information or how it can help you locate information. For example, if I am looking for information on abstracts, I would usually go to the index and find the word abstracts or abstracting, and it will give me the specific page where I can find more information about it. It is a more helpful tool than just checking the table of contents because it will give you the specific location of the specific information you are looking for. So that is what an index is. And another example is Google, which is a search engine. What Google does is it indexes all the web pages and websites on the internet. So if you search for information online, it will show you pages that include the search terms or keywords that you have typed in order to search for that information. That is an example of natural language indexing. Google indexes the language of the text in the document as is. So you can search potentially all the text in a document using the Google search engine. Another example is the online public access catalog. Usually, this is a website that we use to check the library's collection. You can search by author, title, or keyword. And if you have noticed, there are keywords. These are actually not just random words picked out randomly from the text itself, but it is based on a standard list. Usually, libraries use the Sears list of subject headings or the Library of Congress subject headings. These are lists of authorized subject terms or the correct form of terms that are recommended to use in order to classify or organize information. If you go inside a library, books with a similar subjects are grouped together. This is actually a process in the technical section where the librarian tries to organize and classify the items in order to organize them better in the library. And another example is the printed periodical index. So we may not be familiar with this because of the internet, but before, if you are looking for a document or a journal article or a magazine article, you usually consult the subject headings or the subject periodical index. There are subject headings, for example, grasshopper, and it will list down all the related newspaper, magazine, or journal articles on that topic. It also includes the title of the periodical and the specific pages in order for us to locate information. So that is what an index is in the simplest terms. It is a tool that can help us find information. Indexing is the process of creating the index. So that's where it starts getting complicated. Since if you are the one constructing the index, you have to read and analyze the item in order to assign keywords and make that item more searchable. In my work as a librarian, I also index for a bit. We have the Bahandian Institutional Repository, which is like a digital library of all the researches, theses, dissertations, and articles created by students and faculty. what I do is I index the items based on the Library of Congress subject headings. So I read and analyze the item and assign subject headings that are appropriate for that item for easier searching. So the repository uses both natural language searching and also the controlled vocabulary. This is where we use a standard list of terms in order to make finding information easier for us librarians and for the researchers as well. Most people find indexing and abstracting difficult because it requires reading and understanding a document or a text, and most probably find it difficult to read, especially really technical items. For example, if I'm an indexer and if I index this book, I have to really read and analyze the content of the item in order to create an index that is understandable to the user. But I will not really go into the complicated stuff because this is more of an introduction. So basically, that is what an index is. It is a tool to help us find information. Next is abstracting. So an abstract is basically a summary of a document. We can usually find this in journal articles or research publications. So if you are searching for a research article for your thesis, for example, usually there is a one-paragraph abstract describing the content or highlighting the important aspects of a specific document. So this helps us librarians and researchers search for information because we don't have to read the whole article in order to decide if we need it for our research. We simply have to just browse the abstract to see if it is really appropriate for what we are searching for. There are also other types of abstracts like synopses and other tools that can help us find information easier. Indexes and abstracts are tools to help us search for information and to make information retrieval more efficient. And abstracting is the process of creating that abstract. For example, in a research publication, usually the authors prepare the abstract since they are the ones who are most familiar with the topic. But sometimes there are items which have no abstract and the librarian has to create one. In my work for the repository, sometimes I encounter items that don't have an abstract. So what I usually do is I try to write the abstract based on the item also. I try to find the most important information and summarize it. I find the important information, it can usually be found in the introduction in order to write that abstract. So I think that's where most people find difficulty with this subject is the reading and the writing part, since you really have to analyze, read, and comprehend a specific document in order to index and abstract it. However, some documents, especially researches, can be in really technical language, so that's when it gets challenging. That's it for indexes and abstracts. If you have any questions about librarianship, you can comment down below and I will try to answer them. So for those who are new here, this is the Malditang Librarian channel. I usually post about librarianship and board exam tips. So if you are interested in that, you can subscribe to this channel for more updates. Thank you for watching.